And today we are going to be learning a third one. So we're actually learning 3 equations per line. I kind of like today's though. I don't use it very much, but
It's your weird.
What? What's major?
Use that thing.
I don't know. You don't have to hand it.
It's his.
Jealous because you can't go facial hair yet?
You called your baby face.
Alright. So, make sure you guys are taking notes and your headphones off and everything. I think everybody is. Because your notes are worth points, we're going to be doing a notebook check next week before our test. So keep that in mind. Alright. So, what we are learning today is called the standard form of the line. And it looks like ax plus by equals c. So ax plus by equals c. And when we look at a, b, and c, those are whole numbers. Which, if you don't remember, whole numbers are no fractions or decimals. So when we talk about standard form, a, b, and c should just be regular numbers, like 1, 2, 3. We're going to have, let me see, remember, integers include negatives. So yeah, from 0 and up. So, an example of an equation in standard form is 2x plus 4y equals 8. If I'm going to look at this, a is 2 in this one, b is 4, and c is 8. So, in standard form, kind of like slope-intercept and point-slope, the regular x and y don't change. All that changes are a, b, and c. And the reason we use standard form is because standard form is really, really nice for finding your x and y intercepts. Hey, okay, standard form is really nice for finding your x and y intercepts. So it's really nice for finding where your graph crosses the x and y axes. So we're going to find the x and y intercepts on 2x plus 4y equals 12. So I'm going to start with my x-intercept. To find that, I'm going to plug in 0 for y, and then I'm going to solve it for x. So I have 2x plus 4y equals 12. So 2x plus 4, and instead of y, I'm going to plug in 0 for my y. And it's going to equal 12. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to solve it for x. And after I figure out what x equals, that's where my graph will cross the x-axis. So, as I go through and solve this, what's the first thing I should do? Let's start with Adelia.
We are going to do 4 times 0.
Which is?
And then we're going to add...
What is 4 times 0? What's 4 times 0? You're way overthinking this, Adelia. What's 4 times 0?
And then we're going to add...
Back up. You skip ahead.
We're going to add 2 plus 4. We're going to add 2 plus 4.
Adelia. What's 4 times 0?
Oh my God.
What does that
equal?
4! You really shouldn't listen to people around you. Especially Moses. It is 0.
It's 0!
You're so embarrassed.
Oh my God.
Alright, so this is really 0. Man. Lots of views on YouTube. Alright, we go 4 times 0 is 0. When I plug in 0 for this y, does this piece even really matter? No. So I'll give you a hint. When we do these, your first step is basically just getting rid of a piece. We'll do this more later. But 4 times 0 is 0. So we're just left with 2x equals 12. If I'm going to solve for this, let's skip around a little bit now. If I'm going to solve for this Alizea, what do I do to solve for x? Yeah. We're just going to divide it by 2. And I'm going to get x equals 6. And what this means, my graph crosses the x-axis at 6, when x is 6. So we're going to graph it in just a little bit, not for a little while. But eventually we'll graph it, and it's actually going to be easy, because we're going to put 2 dots and then we're going to be done. Okay, I found my x-intercept. I'm also going to find my y-intercept, and it's basically the same thing, except we're going to put in 0 for x. Basically the same thing. So I'm going to put in 0 for my x, and I'm going to go 2 times 0, and then I'm going to have plus 4y, and it's going to equal 12. But Moses, what's 2 times 0?
0.
So does this first part even matter?
You should have said 2.
Does this first part even matter for 2 times 0?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
0.
if we're going to solve it,
Oh, no.
it doesn't really matter. So I'll give you a hint, and I'll kind of start doing this from now on. When you find the x-intercept, basically you ignore the y part. When you find the y-intercept, you basically just ignore the x part. So we'll kind of keep looking at this. Yes, Adelia.
So, I got a question. Are we dividing 12 divided by 4 and
Yes.
then 4 y?
So we're just solving it for y. So remember, PIMDOS backwards. We get rid of this times by 4 by dividing by 4. And we're going to get y equals 3. What this means is my graph crosses the y-intercept at 3. So we're going to practice finding these intercepts, then we're going to graph it, and we'll go from there. Alright, so I'm going to find the x and y intercepts for the graph 3x plus 4y equals 24. So I'm going to start with my x-intercept.
I really can't hear you.
I'm going to start with my x-intercept. And when I start with my x-intercept, I'm going to ignore the y part. So I'm going to have 3x, and it's going to equal 24. I'm going to ignore my y part right there. So I am going to need to solve it for x by dividing by 3. And I get x equals 8. This means my graph crosses the x-axis at 8. I also got to find my y-intercept, and it's basically the same thing, except for my y-intercept, I'm going to ignore my x part and just look at the y. 4y equals 24. Same kind of steps. We're going to divide it by 4 to solve for y. And we're going to get y equals 6. This means my graph crosses the y-axis. Combining graph and crosses there.
Is this all we're doing?
Well, we're going to graph it, but it's not very tough. So basically, it's going to cross at 6. All right. You guys want to practice one more? Or you want to do the in class?
I want to practice.
All right, let's practice one more.
No.
We'll practice. No, I hear practice one more. We're going to practice it. All right. So we're going to keep going through. We're going to look at little part A down here. I'm going to find my x-intercept. An ivory. If I'm finding my x-intercept, am I going to do anything with this y right here? Am I going to use it right down?
No.
No. So we're going to go 5x equals 60. And we're going to divide it by 5 on both sides. And we're going to get x equals 12. My graphs, I keep doing that. I combine graph and cross the graphs, which is weird. My graph crosses my x-intercept at 12. Crosses the x-axis at 12. All right. We also got to find our y-intercept. So if I'm going to find my y-intercept, Gabe, am I going to even do anything with this 5x? No, we're just going to ignore it. And I need to not forget my negative here. So I'm going to have negative 6y is going to equal 60. Then to solve it, I'm going to divide by negative 6. And I'm going to get y equals negative 10. It's going to cross the y-axis at negative 10. All right, first in class problem. I want you to find the x and y intercepts on part B. And you are going to get a fraction for one of these, just so you know. I want you to find the x and y intercepts on part B. Be pretty quick, I think. And then that's actually, we're halfway down with our lesson afterwards. Item already? What's that? Why is there a parenthesis and then a comma?
No, there's a 4 and then there's a parenthesis and then a 4 and then a comma. Because it's XY.
These are intercepts, not an XY coordinate. I like your thinking though, but no. These are, so there are two separate answers. So when you answer these, and it says what are the intercepts, you're going to go x equals for your first answer, and y equals for your second answer. That's good thinking though. A little bit more space here.
Can you use decimals in our fraction?
What?
Can you use decimals in our fraction?
Yeah, I would use decimals. All right, so we're going to go over these first ones, and Lily, find one of the intercepts. You get a pick. Either the x or the y.
I wanna join it.
Rocks in there. Rocks. No.
I'll bet.
Alright, Lily's gonna find one of these intercepts for us. And she's gonna find the x intercept, I think.
What is that?
Pretty sure that's
worst
x.
case I didn't even do that. Right?
Don't put it on your Chromebook, put it flat on the desk and it'll be easier.
Are you shaking?
She's scared. She's ready to die.
It looks like moss.
She's really nervous. She doesn't want to look bad on you.
Jump.
Alright, keep going. So, she's going to find the x-intercept first. There we go, that's better. And to do that, we ignore the y's and we divide it by 3. We're going to get x equals 4. Stop. Ashlyn, find the y-intercept.
No.
Too late.
I wanna find it.
Too late.
Alright, Ashlyn's going to find the y-intercept for us.
Wrong.
And to find our y-intercept, oh, Ashlyn's doing all our steps. Look at that word.
Dang.
So, we are going to plug in 0 for our
Too much
x,
work.
and then solve it for y. Well, Ashlyn's doing all our steps, which is fine. And they basically cross out. We can basically just cross that piece out, because it's going to be 0 and it doesn't matter. And then we're going to divide it by 8 on both sides, and we're going to get y equals
Oh, I'm shaking.
1.5.
Oh.
Nice
Backwards.
job. We got this.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, another in class. Aw.
So regular.
Alright, so that is the first piece. We are also going to graph lines in standard form. So I'm going to graph x minus 2y equals negative 2.
Wait, so are we just doing what we just did?
Basically, yes, for the first
We're
part.
graphing it?
Now we're going to graph it. So, we're going to graph x minus 2y equals negative 2. Before I can graph, I need to do two things. I need to find my intercepts. So I'm going to start with finding my x-intercept. And I'm going to ignore my y's and just go x equals negative 2. Do I even need to solve that? No, it's done already. That's kind of nice. Okay, so I found my x-intercept. I need to find my y-intercept. And I'm going to ignore my x and just go negative 2 equals negative 2. Excuse me, negative 2y equals negative 2. There we go. That's a little better. And then we have to go through and solve by dividing by negative 2. And we're going to get y equals positive 1. Because negative over a negative is positive. Yes, I agree.
Wouldn't there be a 1 in front of the x though?
There is. But if I divide by 1, does anything change?
Oh, no.
No. So that's true. There is a 1 here, but nothing's going to change when I divide by 1. Which is why I didn't keep going. Alright. We have everything we need to graph. So what we're going to do is we're going to put dots where our intercepts are. So I'm going to start with my x-intercept. It is at negative 2. So I'm going to go here to my x-axis. Remember, x is left and right. Y is up and down. And I'm going to go to negative 2 on my x-axis, which is right here. I'm going to put a dot. Then, I'm going to go to my y-axis and graph my y-intercept. My y-intercept is 1. So I'm going to go up here to 1. I'm going to put a dot. And now I'm just going to connect my dots. And make my arrows and stuff. For standard form, we really only put 2 dots. So in point slope and slope intercept, we kind of followed our slope. On standard form, you just make your dots on your axes and connect them. You don't have to do anything else with them. So these are probably the easiest to graph, I think. Just because you just need the 2 dots on your axes and you connect them and you're done. So we're going to do 1 or 2 more of these, then you guys will do 1 and that'll be it. So we're going to find the graph of 2x plus 5y equals 20. So I'm going to start with my x-intercept. I'm going to ignore my y's and just go 2x equals 20. We're going to divide by 2, get x equals 10.
Same type of thing for my y-intercept now. I'm going to find my y-intercept. I'm going to ignore my x and just go 5y equals 20. And solve it for y by dividing by 5. And then I get y equals 4. Okay, that's everything I need to graph this. I'm going to start with my x-intercept. It's going to cross the x-axis at 10. So I got my x's left and right, y's up and down. Since it's at 10, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to put my dot for my x-intercept. Then I have y is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put my second dot, and then you just got to connect them. Which is kind of hard to do when they're this far apart, but that's actually not as bad as I usually am. It's not good, but it's not as bad as I usually am. And that's it. That's all it is for standard form. Alright, first in class problem, or first in class problem like this. I want you to graph this one. Graph 4x minus, oh, get out of here. Come on. There we go. 4x minus 8y equals negative 4. So find your intercepts, graph it, then somebody's going to put it on the board for us, so be ready. Uh-huh. Do you have it? Okay, hang on. Probably.
Probably.
I'll think about it. Yeah, what's up?
Doesn't make no sense.
Yeah, it's fine. It's kind of annoying to graph because they don't push it.
What if it's a half?
So put it halfway.
Like 1 and 2. Like this, I could be like
25, right?
right here.
So I'll give you a hint. The dots of this one are going to be very close together, so it's not going to look very nice. So it's -2, so we're down 2. And then just a little bit, right? It's 25. A little less than that. Yeah, that's good. So just put it down first. So I got that's it.
Wait, Mr. Volky.
0.5.
Mr. Volky, Mr. Volky. No, Mr. Volky, no.
Stream.
On the other side.
Yeah.
I got 0 point. Or negative 0 point.
Are you on? Or
So from 0 up 1 over 2.
Slave and roll, he's yes.
Oh, wait, okay. On the negative 1, go.
He's gonna laugh too
He's out of it.
Get some more things.
He's out of it.
he sleeps pretty deep.
Yeah.
More, Mr. Volky, more.
Junior, wake up.
Junior.
Luis,
Wake up.
Don't sleep in class. I think you were snoring so much it attracted him.
You attracted
At least
me.
it's not like Mr. Curtis. Mr. Curtis.
All right, we're going over this one.
Wait, no, Mr. Volky. They already did it the
Graph
judge.
on it.
Dude, I was
Oh
just,
my
I
gosh.
was just about to fall asleep.
All right. So put one of your intercepts on there.
Wait,
The only thing I noticed
One is a
was
bit-
down.
so, did I do that right? Now it's gonna graph.
No, hang on, turn off.
Yeah, I'm never falling asleep in this class ever again.
There you go.
Maybe
Better
next
not.
year, maybe like
No
next,
coach
next
can.
week. But
All right. Ruben's gonna put one of the intercepts up here on our graph.
Up one.
So up 1.
Alright, we better solve and find one of these intercepts since apparently you didn't do it on your paper. Alright, why'd you find the y intercept?
I did.
What'd you get?
You got 0.5.
Okay, where's 0.5 at?
I don't know.
How'd you get it?
That's y equals 0.5. Alright, so 0.5 is, okay, so start in the middle. Start in the middle.
What?
Right in the middle. In the middle. Nope, that's not the middle.
Don't go in the middle. Don't go.
Right there. Okay, now go up halfway. That's 0.5. It's halfway.
Right there.
Yep, right there. Put your dot.
Okay.
Good job. Greg, give me my other intercept.
It's 8 divided by 4. Or 4 divided by 8.
But I thought it was negative. What? What I do?
Because negative 4 and negative 8. So negative and negative make the positive.
Alright, Greg's gonna put on our x-intercept, which is at -1. Okay, now finish off the graph, because we're still missing something. There we go. We got our line, and we just need some arrows on there. Some big arrows, but I'll take it. There you go. That's it. That's all we need. So standard form, pretty nice, the graph. We only have to do the 2 dots. Alright, that is it. So if you haven't yet, start your exit ticket. I will turn on Socrative in just a second, and then put your homework on the board.
Please.
Wake up, man.
Wake up.
Wake.
Do more.
Stack more things in your head.
Stay up. Yeah.